A U.S. Army sergeant is in custody, and at least 5 soldiers are recovering after he's accused of opening fire at Fort Stewart. That's a military base about 40 miles southwest of Savannah. The wounded soldiers were treated on site, some then taken to an Army hospital. Law enforcement officials are saying that there is no danger, though, to the community. Anna Schecter joins us now live on set. She is the senior coordinating producer for CBS News' Crime and Public Safety Unit. Anna, thanks so much for being with us. What more are we learning about what happened today and perhaps more about this alleged shooter?
Sure. Well, we just learned that the suspect is an Army sergeant. So potentially, we know it's a male. So potentially he would have known the victims, might have even been training with them. So that adds a lot of pieces to this puzzle. We are expecting a 3:30 presser, so we'll likely find out a little bit more about the status of the victims. Remember, 2 of them needed to be transported to that trauma care center in Savannah, so those individuals would have had more serious injuries, and 3 of them were able to be treated at that hospital right on base.
I would imagine that with authorities saying that this was a potential, that the suspect is a U.S. Army sergeant, that changes how the investigation goes at this point. What is next in the investigation? What's happening right now?
Well, sure. That means that the investigation is all kind of within this radius, likely, of the base, because that Army sergeant likely lived there. It's going to be quick to go search where he lives, collect the laptop, potentially another cell phone. If he had a cell phone on him, they would have collected that. It's helpful that he is there, that he can help them get into that phone. They're going to start scraping that, searching for clues of motive. What was going through his mind, Google searches and the like in the days and even months leading up to this. So all of that is underway right now. They're also going to be wanting to interview individuals that are close to him, who he might have spoken to in recent days. They want to first find out if anyone knew of any plan, or they might learn of mental health struggles, red flags. All of that is going to be collected right now in the hours to come and in the next few days.
And I know you'll be staying on top of that press conference that's coming up, too. Anna, thank you very much. We also have CBS News Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson joining us. And Eleanor, thanks for being with us. What type of protocols are in place on a military base for incidents like what happened here?
Well, as soon as they get even a hint of a threat, they would communicate the potential of a lockdown. And that's what happened this morning, that we got word of a lockdown around 11 a.m. Lockdowns aren't necessarily unusual because, again, if the Army gets even a hint of danger, they're going to spread the word. The next piece of information came that there were casualties reported. That is not normal. The last mass shooting on a military base was back in 2019. We've since learned that in that 30 minutes, the shooter, officials tell us, is a male Army sergeant, was apprehended, is in custody of the Army Criminal Investigative Division, who will proceed with an investigation. Those 5 soldiers shot in the incident are being treated. They were treated on site with their wounds and then transferred both to the community hospital at the Army base and then potentially to the trauma center in Savannah. So next steps, we've learned from the Pentagon that the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has been briefed. The Army will start conducting this investigation, and we hope to hear more about the condition of the soldiers at this press conference later this afternoon.
And Eleanor, for those who are not as familiar, can you talk a little bit about the rank and responsibilities of a U.S. Army sergeant?
Yeah, U.S. Army Sergeant is a E5, so he's one of a higher ranking, or E5. He's enlisted soldier and would have been with enlisted soldiers like him in his unit potentially at Fort Stewart. We don't know too much about him, whether or not he was in that 2nd Armored Brigade combat team. That 2nd Armored Brigade combat team area is the place on Fort Stewart where this incident happened. Fort Stewart is nearly 300,000 acres. It's the home of the 3rd Infantry Division, but the 2nd Armored Brigade combat team area, still large, but not the entire base, was what was impacted by the incident this morning.
All right, Eleanor Watson, thanks so much for being with us.